Good morning, good morning. It is 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time, and that means it is the return of First Chapter Fun. Can you believe it? We're back, and I've missed you. Now, some of you have not joined First Chapter Fun before, so I'll give you a little bit of history. And I'm live on Facebook as well, so this is great. Okay, so wow, we already have people joining. This is great. We have Anita, we have Jen, we have Sandy, we have Amanda, we have Take the Day Off to Read and Sharon and Natalie on Facebook. This is fantastic. So if this is the first time that you've joined First Chapter Fun, this will probably seem very, normal because you haven't watched it before. But this is actually episode 54 of First Chapter Fun, which started on March the 17th. And don't worry, because all of the previous episodes, if you've missed any of them, they are all uploaded to the Facebook group, because I'm broadcasting on Facebook in the brand new First Chapter Fun group, and on Instagram in the brand new First Chapter Fun Instagram account. I guess I was just wondering, how do I explain that? So we moved First Chapter Fun. It was originally all on my author page on Facebook and on my Instagram handle, Instagram account, and it was supposed to be a temporary thing. Actually, it's all started, let me tell you a story. It all started round about the middle of March when the COVID lockdown started to hit, and I made a somewhat joking throwaway comment to some author friends because we were talking about how we could promote our books and get the word out about our books in these strange times. And I said, kind of jokingly, well, what if I read the first chapter of your books on Facebook or Instagram? Actually, I don't even think Instagram was in the mix at that point. And they said yes. And I thought maybe half a dozen, maybe a dozen authors would say yes. And I ended up with, in I think 3 days, there were over 40 authors lined up. And originally I was going to stop the series on May the 8th, so last Friday, because reading daily, it's a lot. And, you want me to write more books, I hope. So the whole point was that this was a temporary thing. And then enter the wonderful, brilliant, superb, fantastic, and all those adjectives, Hank Philippi Ryan, who has joined and who is watching. And she said, well, don't stop this series. This is great. What if you had a co-host? And here we are. So we decided to but move the series to Instagram, to the new Instagram account, and to a new Facebook group. So if you have not joined the Facebook group yet, it is First Chapter Fun. And spread the word, tell everyone, because we already have over 500 members, and the more we have, the more we can do this, and the more authors we have. So I have one comment from Lynn, because I'm reading from Lynn's book, and she just said that she can't hear me very well on Facebook. I'm wondering if that is the case for everyone. Is it me? Is there something wrong with my connection? It would be great if people can say, if you can hear me, that would be wonderful. So First Chapter Fun has a new home. Daily readings, it won't be daily, it will be every Tuesday and Thursday with Hank. So the days with a T, Tuesdays and Thursdays, easy to remember, at 11:30 a.m. Eastern, we will be reading from different books. And boy, oh boy, do we have readings lined up for you. We have readings until already booking into September, late September. Oh good, you can hear me, that's wonderful. So and late September, and we have more and more authors, and it's just wonderful to see this growing and spreading and growing really long legs. And this all started with that throwaway comment, so I'm just absolutely delighted. So we've had 53 readings thus far. You will find them all in the videos in Facebook, and you will find them all on the feed on Instagram, so you can go back and watch all of them to your heart's content. So that's absolutely wonderful. And examples of authors include, well, we have had many, but I'm going to give a shout out to Heather Gudenkauf, because This Is How I Lied was episode 18, and it publishes today, so that's a great book to go and listen to. Not right now, because I'm going to read to you from Liv Constantine's book. But we've had many authors. We've had Sharon Doering, who's watching. I know we have Tracy Clark, who's watching, and she's going to be coming up as well. So we have lots and lots of stuff and lots of surprises in store for you. So I have to say a big thank you to all of the authors and their publishers who agreed on a whim, really, to this project, saying yeah, you can read for us. So it's brilliant. And thank you to all of the viewers who have been watching these episodes, and it's just wonderful. I'm just so happy that this continues. And a big shout out to my partner in crime, Hank, who twisted my arm a tiny bit and got me to agree to continuing the series with her. So we will both be broadcasting Tuesdays and Thursdays. So you'll hear me read, you'll hear Hank read, and it's just fabulous. Okay, so let me tell you. Now I've babbled. I always babble when I get excited. That's just the way it is. Today's book, don't let the pink cover fool you. There's nothing cutesy about this one. It's The Wife Stalker by Liv Constantine, and it is a gorgeous cover, and I'm going to read you the first chapter of that one. But before that, I have actually read for Lynn and Valerie, the Constantine sisters, for them before. Episode 21 was the last Mrs. Parrish. Don't go and look for it now, do that after. And I read for Lynn because she also writes as Elsie Shaw from her book The Network, which was episode 24. So you've got a ton of videos to go and catch up on. All right, so I will now read you, although I'm going to introduce you to Liv Constantine in case you haven't heard of them before, which I would find rather extraordinary. But this is, I'll show you the cover again. Let me read you the bio of Liv Constantine, who are the authors of The Wife Stalker. All right, here we go. Liv Constantine is the pen name of internationally best-selling authors and sisters Lynn Constantine and Valerie Constantine. Separated by 3 states, they spend hours plotting via FaceTime and burning up each other's emails. They attribute their ability to concoct dark storylines to the hours they spent listening to tales handed down by their Greek grandmother. Their debut thriller, The Last Mrs. Parrish, was a Reese Witherspoon Hello Sunshine book club pick and an international bestseller that's available in over 32 countries. It's currently in development for TV. Their second book, The Last Time I Saw You, was released on May 7th, 2019, and brackets, the paperback of that one just came out last week, I think. So you can get your hands on that too, and it is in development for film. Their next book, The Wife Stalker, from which I'm reading to you today, will publish on May 19th. So next week, you don't even have to wait long till you can get your hands on it. And you can visit their website at livconstantine.com. Now, I forgot to mention, because I'm so excited to be here, forgot to mention that Liv is watching on both Facebook and Instagram, and you can leave, Lynn and Valerie, you can leave them questions. So you might wonder, how does that work? Writing a book with a co-author who happens to be your sister. How do you manage that with the plot? I'm really intrigued as an author of as to how that works, or what's coming next, or tell us more about The Wife Stalker or the other books. So they are here, they're watching, and you can ask a ton of questions and they will pop in and answer them. I know on Instagram the questions will disappear because this will be on story and you can't really answer them afterwards, but it will be saved to my feed. And another point which I should have mentioned at the beginning, sometimes tech gremlins get into Facebook in particular and the connection drops. So if the connection drops, which it probably now will because I mentioned it, don't worry, go get yourself a cup of coffee, cup of tea, whatever, and I will come back to the platform that booted me out and I will restart the broadcast. But fingers crossed, it'll be stable. All right, so I'm going to show you the cover again of The Wife Stalker. Here we go. Publishes on May 19th, and I'm going to read you some of the accolades that have already been pouring in. I will read you the description and then I'll go into chapter 1. So here we go. So Lisa Unger, who will be featured on First Chapter Fun, calls it a twisty, engrossing house of mirrors. Lisa, of course, is the New York Times best-selling author. Megan Miranda, also a #1 New York Times best-selling author, called it impossible to put down. And Samantha Downing, her episode of, she's the author of My Lovely Wife, and he started it. And I read for her episode 17, he started it. She calls The Wife Stalker a read-through-the-night thriller that mesmerises to the final page. So if those aren't references that make you want to grab this book, I can't help you. All right, so I'll now read the description in chapter 1, and this is, of course, as always, with permission of the authors and their publishers. In this case, it is HarperCollins. The best-selling author of The Last Mrs. Parrish returns with a psychological thriller filled with chilling serpentine twists about a woman fighting to hold onto the only family she's ever loved and how far she'll go to preserve it. Named one of the most anticipated thrillers of the year by Goodreads, Bustle, She Reads and Library Journal. Breezing into the Tony seaside paradise of Westport, Connecticut, gorgeous 30-something Piper Reynard sets down roots, opening a rehab and wellness space and joining a local yacht club. When she meets Leo Drakos, a handsome, successful lawyer, the wedding ring on his finger is the only thing she doesn't like about him. Yet, as Piper well knows, no marriage is permanent. Meanwhile, Joanna has been waiting patiently for Leo, the charismatic man she fell in love with all those years ago, to re-emerge from the severe depression that has engulfed him. Though she's thankful when Leo returns to his charming, energetic self, paying attention again to Evie and Stelly, the children they both love beyond measure, Joanna is shocked to discover that it's not her loving support that sparked his renewed happiness. It's something else. Piper. Leo has fallen head over heels for the flaky, new-agey newcomer, and unrepentant and resolute, he's more than willing to leave Joanna behind, along with everything they've built. Of course, he assures her, she can still see the children. Joanna is devastated and determined to find something, anything, to use against this woman who has stolen her life and her true love. As she digs deeper into Piper's past, Joanna begins to unearth disturbing secrets. But when she confides to a therapist that she fears for the lives of her ex-husband and children, her concerns are dismissed as paranoia. Can she find the proof she needs in time to save them? So this is The Wife Stalker, in case you just joined. The first chapter of The Wife Stalker. Look at that lovely cover. I love it. It's pink and it's ominous. It's brilliant. By Liv Constantine. And this is chapter 1. Piper. Piper Reynard pulled into the parking lot of the Phoenix Recovery Centre and parked in her reserved spot. When she'd been forced to leave San Diego 10 months ago, she wasn't sure where to go, only that she wanted to be as far away from the West Coast as possible. It had to be somewhere near the water, though, so that she could still sail on the weekends, and it needed to be a place where she could start over without standing out. After extensive research, she'd settled on Westport, Connecticut, a jewel of a town on the coast of Long Island Sound. The former home of Paul Newman and other celebrities, it had a sophisticated vibe and was just over an hour away from New York City by train. But, best of all, it was the kind of place that attracted people from all over, rather than the kind of small town where everyone's family had lived for generations, making them nosy about newcomers. She'd found the perfect home, a sprawling white clapboard on the water, and joined a yacht club where she kept the sailboat she'd bought as soon as she came east. The one problem she had to overcome was how to reinvent herself. She couldn't continue with her counselling practice as her licence was in her real name, so the next best thing was a business in a similar field. She'd been incredibly lucky to find an existing one for sale and bought the Phoenix Recovery Centre a few weeks after moving to Westport. All she'd had to do was have a lawyer set up at an LLC for her under the name Harmony Healing Arts. It had already been a thriving business, offering meditation retreats, mindfulness, recovery programs, and nutrition and yoga classes. She grabbed her briefcase from the passenger seat, slid out of her Alfa Romeo Spider, and walked toward the entrance of the building, feeling a sense of pride as she looked up at the sleek two-storey building of glass and cedar. She unlocked the front door and went directly to her office. It was still early, 6:30 a.m, but Piper liked to be there well before the centre opened at 8. It gave her time to get centred before she thrust herself into her busy day. She took a quick look at her calendar to check the time of her appointment with Leo Drakos. He'd called her out of the blue last week and asked to discuss a client he was defending in a murder case. He spoke to her about Fred Granger, who had been in one of the centre's support groups for the last 4 months and was about to go to trial for the murder of his actress girlfriend. She'd Googled Drakos and seen he was a well-known defence lawyer, prominent or perhaps even famous in his field. Based on her knowledge of Fred, she didn't think he was guilty, and she was glad Drakos had taken his case. She opened her laptop to check the social media accounts for Phoenix. Instagram first, another 300 followers. Excellent. It must have been the podcast episode she'd uploaded yesterday on filling your well before trying to fill someone else's. Twitter next, 35 retweets of her blog post on selfishness being the new selflessness. And on Facebook, the centre had hit 10,000 likes. A very good morning indeed. She dimmed her office lights and pressed play on her iPad. As the soothing sounds of Debussy filled the room, she closed her eyes and leaned back in the chair. Maybe things were really going to be different here. They had to be. She couldn't keep starting over and finding new places to hide. I know it's just a tease, right? It's a short chapter and such a good one. That was The Wife Stalker by Liv Constantine, and it publishes next Tuesday, so you don't have to wait long to get your hands on it, and you can even pre-order it right now. So that was today's episode. We have lots of people. I'm so pleased. We have tons of people joining. We've got over 20 on Instagram. We've got over close to 40 on Facebook. I am amazed. This is brilliant. Thank you so much. JC Rose just said, yes, just a tease. I know. Pugs and Pages says a new place to hide. So intriguing. It really is. It really is. And you don't have long to wait. So that was the first episode. Well, no, it wasn't the first episode. It was the 54th episode, but it was the first episode of First Chapter Fun in its new home. I'm so happy to welcome you here. I'm so glad you found us and you joined. Keep spreading the word, please, please, because the more members we have, the more authors we will have who are interested in participating, and the more books and authors we can introduce to you. So make sure you've invited your friends to join the Facebook group and share the Instagram video as well, the post that we'll be doing, and we'll be able to do this, well, I was going to say forever, maybe not forever, but as long as we can. Okay, so this is the point where I tell you about what normally would be tomorrow's book, but it won't be tomorrow. It is Thursday's book. So Thursday, again, 11:30 a.m, the days with a T, Tuesday and Thursday, First Chapter Fun with Hank and myself. And we will be reading from Careful What You Wish For by Hallie Ephron. Look at that. Careful What You Wish For. This will be Thursday's book at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Uh-oh, it just shut off. Maybe it was telling me to shut up. There we go. Careful what you wish for by Hallie Efron. That will be Thursday's book. So mark your calendar. On Facebook I've put events in so you can never miss an episode. And if this is your first time joining, don't forget you can catch up on 53 episodes which have been loaded to the video section on Facebook for the First Chapter Fun group and on Instagram as well on the feed. So that is today's episode of First Chapter Fun. Delighted to be back, delighted to be in this new home, delighted to be in this adventure, on this adventure with all of you and with my superb co-host Hank. And we will, of course, be broadcasting again on Thursday. So until then, as always, please stay safe, stay kind, and we'll see you on Thursday. Thank you for watching.